Sometimes a man wakes up and feels nothing. No arousal, no desire, not even the usual confidence. He gets up, looks in the mirror, and barely recognizes the reflection. The same shoulders, but a dull gaze, silence inside. A quiet, painful thought creeps in. Maybe it's all behind me. But no, the truth is, you're not lost, not broken, and not an old man. You've just forgotten for a while what you're capable of. And that can be fixed. My name is Dr. James. I've been working with men for over 30 years. And if there's one thing I've learned during this time, it's that age doesn't take a man's strength. It only takes the habit of caring for oneself. And one day, I met a man who became a symbol of that truth for me. His name was George, a veteran, 79 years old. Quiet, stubborn, straightforward. He didn't come to me with complaints, but with curiosity. He said, "Everyone says it should be too late at my age, but I wake up every morning hard as I was at 30. Never took a pill in my life. Want to know why?" Of course, I did. We sat down, and he looked at me with that typical military seriousness and said, "A simple bedtime snack, not a joke." My medical instincts were skeptical at first. It sounded too simple. But when he listed the ingredients, I had no reason not to try. These weren't drugs, exotic mixtures, or expensive supplements. Just plain food. The kind that sits on a shelf or in a cupboard at home. George didn't eat it because someone told him to, but because he felt his body needed it. And each night, he did it consciously, like a small ritual, with respect for himself. I observed him for several months. His energy levels, steady. Mood, upbeat. Blood pressure, normal. Most importantly, his eyes were full of life. George didn't seem like some natural wonder. He was simply a man who remembered who he was and took one small step toward himself every night. If you're reading this and feel like a lot has faded, believe me, not everything is lost. Strength, passion, and dignity are still within you. Sometimes, all it takes to awaken them is to start small. With warm food, with care, with the belief that you're worthy of more. When George first told me about his evening ritual, I'll admit, I expected something unusual, maybe expensive or rare, but the first ingredient turned out to be almost absurdly ordinary. A banana. I didn't take it seriously at first, but George just shrugged and said, "You have no idea how important it is." And from that moment, I started to dig deeper. It turns out a banana is not just a fruit. It's a kind of fuel, especially for men over 60. In my practice, I often deal with complaints about insomnia, fatigue, and low libido. One day, a man named John came to see me, a 67-year-old retired schoolteacher. He looked tired, his speech was sluggish, and most importantly, he complained about a lack of desire and problems with morning erections. "Maybe it's just age?" he asked, with a sort of childlike sadness. But I saw that hope still lived in him. He just didn't know where to begin. I didn't immediately recommend tests or medications. Instead, I suggested he try what George had done. Add a banana to his evening routine. John looked surprised. "That's it?" I nodded. Sometimes the simplest things are the wisest. 2 weeks later, he came back. And for the first time in a long while, he was smiling. "I've been sleeping like I used to when I was young, and more importantly, I wake up feeling like I can again." The secret lies in the banana's composition. It's rich in tryptophan, an amino acid that helps the brain produce serotonin, the so-called happiness hormone that regulates mood and awakens desire. From serotonin, the body produces melatonin, the sleep hormone. And during sleep, As we know, testosterone is born, the source of male energy. It's simple and logical. Bananas also contain vitamin B6, which helps the body convert cholesterol into testosterone. And the enzyme bromelain, found in the pulp, improves blood flow. The result? Not just more energetic mornings, but a return of confidence. And there's another key nutrient, manganese. It supports prostate health, reduces inflammation, and helps maintain hormonal balance. That's especially important for aging men. A banana contains many of the very things that slowly decline in our bodies over time. It's not magic, it's biochemistry. That's how one simple fruit became John's doorway to recovery. No pills, no shame, no pressure. He simply remembered that self-care can begin with something small, a banana. And that became the first step on his path back to himself. A month after John regained his energy with the help of a banana, he came back to my office. But this time, there was more than just relief in his eyes. There was curiosity. Can I add something? Something to make the effect stronger? I smiled. He was ready for the next step. That's when I told him about 2 spices that men have used for centuries to reignite their inner fire: saffron and Ceylon cinnamon. Saffron isn't just a pretty spice you see on cooking shows. It's one of the most powerful natural mood stabilizers. It doesn't just ease anxiety, it awakens that spark, the one that makes a man feel alive. I told John the story of Tom, another patient of mine. Tom was 73, recently widowed, and had lost all desire, even just to look at a woman. The world had gone dim, and so had his body. We started small. He added a pinch of saffron to warm water with honey at night. 3 weeks later, he said, "Doc, I'm living again. I'm even flirting a little." He didn't expect it, but something inside him had come back to life. Saffron doesn't just affect libido. It contains crocin and safranal, natural compounds that act as antidepressants. They gently lift the mood, ease stress, and help the body relax. And when the body is at ease, healing begins. In that state, a full sexual response becomes possible. Next comes Ceylon cinnamon, the quiet hero of men's health. Unlike the common cassia found in most stores, true Ceylon has a soft, almost sweet flavor and powerful healing properties. It widens blood vessels, improves circulation, and most importantly, stabilizes blood sugar levels. Why does that matter? Because even small spikes in blood sugar can disrupt the production of nitric oxide, a compound essential for proper blood flow during arousal. I advised John to add a 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon to his banana and pinch of saffron. 2 weeks later, he called me and said, "It's not just energy. I feel interested in myself again. I feel alive, light." And that was the most valuable part. Spices don't heal directly. They create the conditions. And in those conditions, the body remembers how to be strong. When John came in for the 3rd time, he looked different. His walk was lighter, his gaze more direct, and his voice calm. He said, "I'm sleeping again. Mornings don't scare me anymore, but I want to keep this rhythm going. Is there something that can lock it in?" I knew he was ready for the final step, and I offered him the element that ties the entire formula together: raw, unprocessed honey. Honey isn't just a sweet memory from childhood. In its true, unrefined form, it's a powerful ally for a man's body. Rich in boron, a trace mineral that helps regulate testosterone levels. Honey supports hormonal balance gently, yet effectively. I told John about Jake, a 69-year-old former firefighter, worn out by life. He complained of exhaustion, irritability, and lack of desire. We didn't rush into hormone therapy. Instead, I gave him one simple instruction: 1 teaspoon of raw honey every night, no exceptions. A month later, Jake returned. He no longer needed his cane, and his voice was lively, full of joy. You were right. I even look at myself in the mirror with interest now. The secret was that honey not only supports hormones, but also boosts circulation. It helps increase nitric oxide, the same compound that relaxes blood vessels and allows blood to flow freely into male tissue during arousal. This is the core mechanism behind expensive medications. But unlike those, honey works in sync with the body, without force. I taught John a simple ritual. He mashes 1 ripe banana, adds a pinch of saffron, a 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon, and a spoonful of raw honey. He stirs it slowly. Then he sits down. No phone, no TV, just him and this food. He eats it slowly, with respect. Afterward, warm water or herbal tea, and silence. A week later, he told me, I don't just feel better. It's like I've remembered who I am. This ritual is not about food. It's an act of care, a signal to the body. You matter. You are needed. You are worthy of restoration. John didn't understand it right away, but now he knew. Age is not a sentence, and recovery is not a miracle. It's a choice, a small step every night, and the body responds, always, because it remembers, and it waits for you to live with respect for yourself again.